Yes. Formula One. Yeah. That's right. In February 2015, Jorda was announced as a development driver for the licensed Formula One team, where she was touted to be working within the simulator program and would have
she's not that hot. What's up, squad? It's your Squid, aka the anxious Squid. I just got done watching a Michelle Mouton video, rally driver from the 80s. This exact same content creator decided he was going to do another video about Carmen Jorda. You know, apparently they're related. They're not related, but you know what I'm talking about. Let's just get straight into it, shall we?
That's dominated by males. It's great to see women break barriers. We've seen that with drivers such as Michelle Mouton, Danica Patrick, Janet Guthrie, Pat Moss, and so on. Drivers who pushed against the narrative that women could not be successful in motorsport by being successful themselves.
Yeah,
we need drivers like them to prove to everyone that anything is possible in the sport. Unfortunately, there are other drivers. If you've watched my video on Michelle Mouton, you might remember that I briefly covered someone else in that piece. A driver by the name of Carmen Jorda.
About 10 minutes ago, my time.
Euphemistically. You want me to be more honest, don't you?
Driver. Well, so she's not even a driver, he says. She is the most attractive female driver I've seen so far. Like, you want it on surface level sort of value, you know what I mean? Like, between her, Danica Patrick, and Michelle Mouton, out of the three of them, like...
You don't care, don't you? Beginning in karts in her native Spain, Jorda began her foray into racing cars in 2005, driving in the Master Junior Formula Series. She had a relatively quiet season, finishing P7 in the standings, albeit with no wins, no pole positions, no podiums, or whatever. But hey, it's her first season in cars. Gotta give her some leeway. She would compete in the same championship again for the next season, and... it got worse. Despite these results, she would transition over to the Formula 3 Championship in Spain for 2007, driving in both the main and Copa F300 series. She drowned quite badly in both of them, although she would finish 4th in the Copa F300 series, with 3 podiums to her credit. Granted, the grid was pretty damn light, but that was the hand she was dealt. Despite
you can only race in the race you race in.
Jorda's 2008 campaign in the Spanish Championship was even worse. Still nowhere in the main championship and finished P8 in the standings. This paled in comparison to her teammate Natasha Gachnang, who won the Copa Series and finished 3rd overall in the Spanish F3 standings. That was impressive. Can't say that Jorda's results were all that inspirational, not gonna lie. Yeah, numero tres in the same series, and Jorda is now... you know what, I might as well cut to the chase here. The results were still not very bloody good. But of course, after having spent 3 years in the series, it was time to move on, venturing over to the United States to compete in the Indy Lights series. Maybe this will provide the opportunity for her to demonstrate.
Danica did well in the Indies.
So she signed with Anderson Racing for the 2010 season, and her results were... pretty bad, qualifying at the back at every event that she did. She oftentimes drowned in comparison. It became a limited schedule after withdrawing from Indianapolis for whatever reason. So not a great first few years in motor racing, but honestly, there are plenty of those around.
This guy's throwing some mad shade, so let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree with him.
She doesn't try and forge a path to Formula One. After a year out of the cockpit, she would sign on to race in GP3, the feeder series.
Why are these people signing her if she's never actually had success at any level?
It wasn't the greatest racing team on the grid, but they would be able to give her a car good enough to qualify for the events. Can you see where this is going? Her pace throughout the year was pretty abysmal, and this all came to a head when, at the Silverstone round, she qualified outside the 107% time that was required to qualify for the event. The officials gave her no leeway, thus she officially did not qualify for a GP3 event. Let that sink in. Results hardly improved throughout the year, finishing 28th in the standings, with no points to her name. But hey, I get it. She's not in a brilliant team. It's her first year in the game. I'll forgive her the bad results.
She hasn't had any good results in her career
yet, though. She remained in GP3 for 2013. This time teamed up with Bamboo Engineering. Her teammates Lewis Williamson and Melvin McKee
just sounds
some podiums that year.
Like Bamboo Engineering. They might be amazing. I don't know. I don't know anything about sport. Like, comparatively to you, you know way more than I do, right? But Bamboo Engineering sounds to me like it's some barefoot dude building a shack in a rice paddy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a... it doesn't sound to me like it's, like, prime level. Like, it's bamboo, you know? Like, you think if you're going to be driving a fucking Formula 1 car, or you're going to be driving Formula E or Formula 3 or whatever it is... you'd think there'd be a bit of fucking carbon fibre in there, not bamboo. And obviously I know it's just branding, but that's where my brain goes, you know? Like...
McKee achieving a win at the Nürburgring. Jorda's results, meanwhile, were, not brilliant. And something that could probably highlight this was what happened at the last round. Both Williamson and McKee would not race at Yas Marina, although Jorda would be joined by Alice Powell, a fantastic racer in her own right. Straight out of the gate, Powell was worlds ahead of Jorda on pace, like literally seconds ahead. She finished at the bottom of the points that year, again with no points. She returned for one more season in 2014. Results typically remain the same, as in they were at the bottom of the timing sheets, and by a fair margin. There was even a circumstance at Spa, where her fastest time in the feature race was almost 20 seconds slower than the fastest time. 20 seconds. That isn't normal. With 2 rounds remaining, Jorda was booted from the team.
Like, what are you doing there? 20 seconds? That's almost dangerously incompetent. You know what I mean? Like a 20-second difference.
20 seconds. That isn't normal. With 2 rounds remaining, Jorda was booted from the team. Or she lost funding, or whatever, and was replaced with Dean Stoneman, who went on to win 2 races in the remaining couple of rounds.
So it wasn't the fucking car then, obviously.
Racing, Jorda had pretty much no results to speak of in anything that she raced, constantly down the back of the pack, an alarmingly long way behind on pace, even after multiple years in the same category.
20 whole fucking seconds.
The next step, therefore, was more than obvious. Formula One. Yeah. That's right. In February 2015, Jorda was announced as a development driver for the Lotus Formula One team, where she was touted to be working within the simulator program and would have
she's not that hot. Like she's
at some point during that year. And the reaction to this signing was
surely that can't be it.
Strong. Former GP3 teammate Robert Cregan said that Jorda couldn't develop.
And I'm not trying to be sexist when I say that, but like I'm literally looking at her and there's no skills in terms of success. They're like in the sport. They're comparatively like a driver got into her car and won races when she hadn't even been able to fucking get a position. Like, she was 20 seconds behind people. Like, I'm not trying to be a fucking pig here when I say this, but, like, is she only getting these gigs for her looks and for marketing purposes and stuff like that? Like, what am I missing?
In a hybrid Formula One car, and Mitch Evans, who a couple years prior had won the GP3 series, tweeted at Lotus F1 that it's not April 1st yet. Were these comments harsh? Well, no. However, the more prominent critic of everyone involved in this was the head of the FIA's Women in Motorsport Commission, Michelle Mouton. You know,
don't hire her just because she's got a moot. Like, hire her because she's good at the gig.
The driver who took on the titans of Group B rallying and beat them. Someone who can really drive. She described Jorda as a marketing gimmick and said that drivers such as Simona De Silvestro and Danica Patrick would be better choices for a role within a Formula One team. And that is totally fair.
They just look a bit more butch.
Simona and Danica had proven to be decent on the IndyCar scene, which isn't exactly
is not a criticism. Like,
Simona had experience in Formula One machinery, having come off of being a Sauber development driver. Meanwhile, Jorda is struggling to stay within range of the second to last place car in GP3. Jorda spoke of her surprise at Mouton's comments, saying, "I haven't had a chance to tell her what is my program. She had good achievements in rallying, and she gave us a reason to believe in motorsport, but I don't think rallying is the same as Formula One." So it really surprised
no shit, it's harder, you fucking dumb fuck. Like, what?
The same as Formula One.
Yeah, they're driving on fucking gravel, not on a perfectly tarred road. It's had some poor fucking cunt with a spirit level out on it for fucking months in preparation, you know? Like,
so you dare imply that rallying isn't in the same league? Maybe I've taken these comments the wrong way, but whatever the case, Jorda's
I'm on your side, bro.
The team was indisputably a political one, not one down to results, because, like, what results?
Yeah,
now, at this stage, having Jorda in the role as a simulator driver was a tough pill to swallow, but it was kinda a harmless situation, as long as she, you know, didn't say something stupid.
Which I bet she did, evidently.
So in April that year, Jorda had voiced her opinion that there should be a separate championship for women, stating that it's not fair that women have to compete in the same championship as men.
you probably wouldn't even get on a podium then, Dal.
She thought that women deserved that chance. 2 words, Carmen. Michelle Mouton. You remember her, right? And of course, other female racing drivers echoed the resentment against her comments. However, all the while, she did have one vocal supporter behind her, F1 Supremo, Bernie Eccleston, who said that Jorda was very good.
You are a
you fucking
buck-toothed old mummy.
That's nice to see, and she has done a good job for them. She wants to be in Formula One. We have to try and find the right way, but she's not alone. There are plenty of other people. Oy vey. She remained with the team through to 2016, when it underwent the rebranding from Lotus to Renault. Still working
right,
within
that
the
makes
simulator
sense. I didn't
camp,
realise
although
that.
Apparently not garnering much praise from her peers. Marco Sorensen, for example, claimed that Jorda had been as much as 12 seconds off his pace in the simulator. Now, that may sound a little too hard to believe, and Jorda herself rebutted by saying saying that she was more or less within a second of Romain Grosjean's times. So which of these two are we going to believe? I ain't saying anything, but one of them is clearly lying.
One of them has
and
experience and the other was not.
In reality, the Sorensen article comes from a source notorious for sensationalizing news stories. But Jorda's racing record hardly supports her claim that she was capable of being within a second of a GP2 champion.
Yeah, no.
Whatever the case, she would make a return
in what reality,
to racing
Dale?
in 2016, driving in the Renault Sport Trophy Series. Despite being a Formula One development driver, she would be placed in the amateur class. Not that the series was completely filled with bums, but it shouldn't be too hard to get results. Her best race finish that year was 8th in her class, and she finished P9 in the amateur standings. She didn't see the year out, and to this day, she has not raced in anything of note. She came close to competing in the inaugural W Series, a series set up solely for female drivers, although she fell short of a hurdle that catches out a great many young racing driver. Money. She also tested a Formula E car in Mexico at the end of 2018. Although bringing up Formula E when it comes to Jorda unearths another problematic comment of hers. At some stage that year, she voiced her opinion that women should aim for Formula E instead of Formula One, calling it less physical and an easier goal for them to attain.
Man.
Maybe she would have arrived at that conclusion having driven a Formula E car that was a Gen 1 version.
Stop like tokenizing yourself,
well, after this enlightened comment, other drivers came out with some, shall we say, criticism of said comment. She later issued an apology, saying that her comments were a reflection of her own personal experience, which is completely deranged. Not only is she pissing on the legacy of drivers such as Lella Lombardi and Desiree Wilson, not only is she degrading the caliber of Formula E drivers, but we're also meant to be encouraging the next crop of racing drivers coming through, not discouraging them, especially with someone like Jorda, who in December 2017 was appointed to the FIA's Women in Motorsport Commission. As you may have guessed, very few people were happy with the decision.
Why? Yeah, she's clearly put women's racing back.
Meanwhile, they appointed a driver slower than a sloth in mud to represent them all.
Slower than a sloth in mud. I love it.
Racing anything. At least, nothing of note. So why bring this issue up? Well, it's not so much about Jorda's racing career, but about what she has represented. There have been plenty of crap racing drivers over the years, and we've just got used to laughing at them. But we were trying to encourage more diversity in the sport. The last thing we need is for some bimbo to come in and completely tear that narrative down. The results were dreadful, but you know something? In her racing career, while she was drowning on dry land, she had raced against the likes of Natasha Gajnang, who was a championship contender in Spanish F3 and won the Copa Championship that Jorda herself couldn't even get a podium in. She couldn't do much of anything.
Why didn't she get a gig?
The very same against the likes of Natasha Gajnang.
Like, if we're talking, like, obviously, tokenism, marketing, all that sort of jazz, I'd market the shit out of her, in comparison, if you know what I mean. Like,
championship contender in Spanish F3 and
that's
won the Copa Championship
mental.
that Jorda herself couldn't even get a podium in. She couldn't do much of anything in Indy Lights. Yet the very same year, Pippaman won at Kentucky. The 2013 GP3
she's actually got a win.
Powell, a champion
Hell, a
in British
podium.
and Asian Formula Renault Championships. Honestly, there's so many better examples of women in motorsport, and yet this one almost got as high as anyone could go in motorsport. And that's messed up.
That's insane, yeah.
Oh, by the way, last week I had this giveaway for an insanely good print by Go for the Gap. I want to thank everyone for joining in on this, but overall,
So at the end of the video, I think it is, yeah.
If your name isn't this one, but you're still keen on these prints, they're available on the Go for the Gap Etsy store.
That's
Link
cool,
in the
yeah. Check out his
which I would
store,
highly
obviously.
recommend.
Check
I
out
guess
his channel.
End of the video, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Anyways,
guess so.
thank you all for watching.
Alrighty, thanks guys. That was really cool. That was interesting. I don't understand. Like, I get it. He seems to have outlined it to me that it's all for marketing, and that she basically doesn't think women can do it because she can't do it. But that's, like, I don't believe that. That's hard, you know what I mean? Like, people wouldn't actually, like, surely that's not the, yeah, wow. Let me know in the comments section. If you want a guaranteed reaction, they're $5. Your name will go on that list, and you get, yeah, a guaranteed reaction every month. I like money. Turning some of yours into mine on a monthly basis would be ideal, but holy shit. Yeah, I'm gonna watch some stuff. I'm gonna edit some stuff. You'll see. I'll see you guys when I look at you. You'll see me when you look at me. Thanks so much for watching.